Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're objectively breaking down a deeply provocative essay by Xu Feng, the founder of Life Chen Yuan. The essay we're looking at poses this massive, overarching question: who can actually manage marriage life well? And look, instead of offering your typical relationship advice or couples therapy tips, Xu Feng takes a completely radical route. He argues that the entire institution of marriage is just fundamentally broken. So today, we're going to unpack his argument, step by step, using the exact logic he lays out in his writing.
To really understand his perspective, we're going to follow his exact structure. We'll start with a universal question, examine the impossible ideal, identify the flaws in human nature, explore the loss of freedom, and finally look at his proposed solution, the Oasis alternative.
Just a quick heads up before we go any further. It is absolutely crucial to remember throughout this explainer that we are examining the world exclusively through the philosophical lens of Life Chen Yuan's founder, Xu Feng. Every single argument, critique, and solution we explore today comes directly from his essay. We aren't endorsing these viewpoints, right? We're just mapping out his specific worldview so we can understand the foundation of his argument.
Section 1. A universal question. Can anyone actually succeed at marriage?
He kicks things off with a fascinating, universal question for the reader. I mean, everybody wants to grow old together in harmony, right? But who actually pulls it off? It's a really compelling hook. He acknowledges that people universally desire this peaceful, loving partnership where they support each other into old age. It's the dream. But then he immediately pivots and asks, in the entire history of the world, how many people have actually achieved this?
And this brilliantly illustrates his absolute viewpoint. You'd think that maybe emperors or presidents could manage it. How about billionaires or high-ranking officials, literary geniuses, celebrities? Xu Feng's answer is a flat-out zero. Absolutely no one. He argues that neither wealth, nor power, nor intellect can save a marriage. He literally goes so far as to claim that not even saints can manage married life properly. It's this sweeping, absolute statement that sets the stage for everything else he's going to say.
Section 2. The impossible ideal, defining the fictional perfect marriage.
So what exactly is his standard for success? Well, Xu Feng lists the strict criteria for an ideal marriage, and man, it is an exhausting list. You can quickly see why he believes it's completely unattainable. According to him, a perfect marriage means zero arguments, ever. It means absolutely no harsh words, no hidden money, perfect fidelity. It means treating every single relative, from your parents to your in-laws, with absolute perfect equality, flawless mutual comfort when things get stressful, and, incredibly, he says it means dying on the exact same day, so neither partner ever has to live without the other. He is super blunt here. He tells his readers to just drop the fantasy. When you hear that previous list, it's pretty obvious no human can actually meet those standards. And that is exactly his point. He argues that this level of perfection only exists in novels and literary fiction. In the real world, completely impossible to find. He firmly believes that humanity is chasing a phantom, a beautifully written piece of fiction that simply cannot survive the friction of everyday life.
Section 3. Flaws in human nature. The root cause of marital failure.
Now we get to the core of why he thinks it fails. He defines human nature as inherently selfish. This is the absolute bedrock of his argument. He argues that because humans are born with this fundamental flaw, this innate self-interest, a genuinely happy and harmonious marriage just cannot exist. In his view, you simply cannot take two inherently selfish creatures, bind them together for decades, and expect anything other than conflict.
To even have a chance at basic peace, he claims you need these 4 incredibly rare, perfectly aligned conditions. Think about this. You need perfectly matched social status, or else there's no equality. You need matched spiritual realms, otherwise there's no true understanding. You need equally matched talents and looks, or else someone is going to stray. And you need shared hobbies just to have a baseline of harmony. He implies that aligning all 4 of these things for a lifetime is statistically and practically impossible, which is exactly why he calls marriage the most complex relationship on Earth.
Without perfect isolation and endless resources, he paints a deeply, deeply cynical picture of domestic life. He literally calls it an endless, inescapable war. He states that the conflict between spouses, whether it's out in the open screaming matches or just hidden resentment beneath the surface, will never cease for a single day. And the only thing that ends this marital war, according to Xu Feng, the grave. It is a stark, uncompromising view.
Section 4. The loss of freedom, the ultimate price of the marital bond. Since all humans inherently crave freedom, he asks this really crucial question. If you are tied to a spouse, Can any amount of worldly success actually buy your liberty back? Think about it. If you make millions of dollars, are you free? If you gain immense political power, become famous, or even pack up and flee to a foreign country, does any of that actually grant you freedom from the confines of the marital relationship?
His answer is just a resounding, repeated absolute. Don't even think about it. In his essay, he uses the Chinese phrase "shu zhang" repeatedly, which basically translates to "don't even think about it" or "impossible." He drives home the point that the invisible bonds of marriage trap you. It doesn't matter where you live, how big your bank account is, or what your social standing is. As long as you are in that relationship, true freedom is completely out of reach.
He argues that couples are basically just deceiving each other, and society as a whole. You've got the surface illusion, right? The gentle warmth, the playful smiles, the perfect image of the happy couple. But then you have what Shufeng claims is the hidden reality: restless internal desires and bitter tears. He genuinely believes that outward appearances of happiness are merely masks that people wear to hide their inner bitterness and their desperate, secret desire to escape the whole arrangement.
Section 5. The Oasis Alternative. Life Shine Yuan's Radical Solution.
Okay, so if humanity should end marital relationships altogether, how on earth do we fulfill our physical, spiritual, and emotional needs? His answer is the life oasis, which is also referred to as the second home. This is a communal living model created by his organization, Life Chanyuan. He claims this model has actually been explored and tested for nearly a decade, and it's designed to entirely replace the traditional family unit. Let's look at how he defines the benefits of this oasis. He claims that this model completely abandons the broken traditional husband-wife dynamic. By doing that, he says it can fulfill all spiritual, mental, and physical desires without any of the friction you get in a one-on-one relationship. He promises that this communal model replaces that endless war of marriage with a joyful, free existence, ultimately aiming to lead humanity into what he describes as a beautiful, heavenly world.
So the entire essay culminates in this radical call to action. He tells his readers, quite literally, stop trying to fix your failing marriage. Just stop. Don't try to change your spouse, don't try to understand them better, and stop making futile efforts to save the relationship. Because in his framework, the institution itself is the unfixable problem.
He concludes that the most rational path forward for humanity is to just completely abandon the illusions of traditional family life. Instead of fighting a losing battle at home, he urges readers to throw themselves entirely into building and joining the new life oasis commune. For Xu Feng, this is the absolute only way to truly understand the joy of being human.
And that brings us to the end of Xu Feng's deeply provocative argument. We'll leave you with this to ponder. Does inherent human selfishness truly doom the institution of marriage to a 100% failure rate, just as the Life Chanyuan founder claims? Or is abandoning the traditional family unit entirely for a communal oasis just an extreme overreaction to the normal, everyday challenges of human connection? It's a really fascinating question about how we view human nature and the structures we build to live together. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.